500 years ago, major European powers had settled and colonized the Americas, eventually establishing new nations with their languages. But China was also big and powerful, so why didn't they follow suit? From the end of the 15th century, European powers established colonies in North and South America to boost their economies back home. These countries mainly included England, France, Spain, and Portugal, but less notably also included the Netherlands, Sweden, Scotland, Denmark, Russia, and even Luxembourg. Okay, maybe not Luxembourg, but you get the point. North America effectively became the new Europe. Sorry, Native Americans. And it's why most North Americans speak European languages at home today, among other things. However, the thing to notice is that these first colonies were all on the East Coast, on the Atlantic, which is why New York is so much older than Portland. It was on the same site as Europe. However, America has a West Coast, so why didn't China or Japan, equally and perhaps even more powerful civilizations at the time, establish colonies on the West Coast? Well, the important thing to understanding why China didn't establish any colonies in general is to understand why Europe did. For centuries, China was kind of the holy grail for European merchants, and for most of history, China had everything Europe wanted, and Europe had nothing China wanted, and was kind of left out of the Indian Ocean trade network that had been going on for centuries. So when Europe eventually stumbled upon North and South America, and therefore had goods that Asia wanted, it was a godsend to Europe. And of course, what do you do when an opportunity like this presents itself? Why, obviously take it all. At this point, we should mention that while during the 15th century Spain had Columbus and Portugal had Vasco da Gama, China also had Zheng He, who was not just the first man without a beard to say a blue whale, but sent huge voyages all around the Indian Ocean. However, these were trade missions, not exploratory ones, since China obviously already knew about East Africa and India, and already had all the trade it needed to sustain itself. In short, China didn't need an America, as further evidence in how China became somewhat more isolationist after the death of Zheng He, marked by how they invested all the boat building resources into wall building. I don't care what the tourism industry says, I'm kind of more interested in the boats. But what about Japan? Japan was also pretty capable, wasn't it? Well, for one, they implemented the similar isolationist policy of Sakoku during the time, in which no one could enter or leave the country, except for the Dutch and Dejima, but that was just for trade. They did eventually start to establish an empire in the Pacific by the turn of the 20th century, but something tells me it was a bit too late to establish colonies in North America due to one pretty big factor. Oh look, it's me, and my country, and Belize. Well, it may be interesting to think about what it would be like if California were a Chinese or Japanese colony, i.e. San Francisco, and in the real world many immigrants from East Asia came through the West Coast. It is highly unlikely that the East Asian powers would ever have needed to colonize so much as Australia, let alone America. It's still fun to think about though, especially if you live on the West Coast. Thanks for watching this video, and thank you for 3,000 subscribers! Now, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to learn something new every Sunday. Also, how's the 3,000 subscriber Q&A sound? I'd be up for doing one of those again.